The last word, it was the middle of senior year at Elmwood High, and Mariah Jacobs was used to being the quiet observer. Always at the top of her class, always excelling, but rarely speaking out. She was known for her intelligence, her calm, and her unshakable determination. But one day, everything changed. The incident happened during a lesson in Mr. Wilkins' U.S. history class. Mr. Wilkins was a teacher whose views were known to be outdated, but he'd always managed to get away with it. His lectures were full of half-truths, distorted facts, and outright biases. No one ever questioned him until Mariah did. They were discussing the history of slavery and its lasting impact on Black Americans. Mr. Wilkins casually remarked, "Sure, slavery was horrible, but a lot of Black people got jobs after the Civil War. They were better off in some ways than they were before." The class fell into an uneasy silence. Maria felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She had heard enough. She raised her hand, and when he called on her, she stood up, her voice steady but filled with fire. "Mr. Wilkins, that's not true. It's a gross oversimplification. After the Civil War, many Black people were still trapped in systems of forced labor, sharecropping, and discriminatory laws. The so-called jobs weren't freedom. They were just another form of exploitation." Mr. Wilkins' face tightened with irritation. "Miss Jacobs, we're discussing history here, not opinion. The facts are clear. You can't just insert your emotions into every lesson." The class shifted uncomfortably, but Mariah pressed on. "It's not about emotion, Mr. Wilkins. It's about truth. You're erasing the suffering of millions of Black people and treating it as if they should have been grateful for what little they were given. You're ignoring how long that legacy of oppression lasted and still lasts." A few students began to nod. Mariah noticed them, their eyes wide as they listened. Mr. Wilkins scoffed, clearly embarrassed. "Mariah," he said with a condescending smile, "you're letting your personal experiences cloud your understanding of history. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I don't care how long you've been teaching." Mariah interrupted, her voice now louder, clearer. "The truth doesn't change with time. You can't distort it to make yourself feel better." The class was still. No one moved. Then, slowly, one by one, students began to shift in their seats. A few started whispering, supporting her. Mariah's voice had cracked open something in them. The uncomfortable silence began to break. Emily, a quiet student from the back, spoke up. "I don't know much about this stuff, but I agree with Mariah. It's like we're being told half of the story." Another student, Josie, added, "Yeah, it's like we're not supposed to ask questions or dig deeper." Mr. Wilkins opened his mouth to argue, but hesitated. He looked at the sea of eyes fixed on him, and for the first time, he seemed unsure. Then, a few more voices joined in. "We should be learning all of it. She's right. History shouldn't be watered down to make it easier to swallow." Mr. Wilkins tried to regain control, but the momentum had already shifted. The students were no longer looking to him for validation. They were looking to Mariah. When the bell rang, Mr. Wilkins dismissed the class, but the students stayed behind for a moment. There was a palpable energy in the room. Something had changed. They felt empowered. The following week, the principal called Mariah into her office. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she was ready. To her surprise, the principal, Mrs. Thompson, wasn't angry. "Mariah," Mrs. Thompson began, "I've had several complaints about Mr. Wilkins' teaching methods lately. Students feel that the way he teaches history is biased, and the way he handled your comments, well, let's just say it wasn't professional." Maria nodded, but she didn't say anything. "We're looking into it," Mrs. Thompson continued. "Thank you for speaking up. I know it wasn't easy, but sometimes the truth has to be said no matter who it challenges." Mariah left the office, her heart racing. It wasn't over yet, but it was a victory of sorts. Weeks passed, and Mr. Wilkins was placed on administrative leave. In his absence, the school began offering workshops on diverse perspectives in history, including the lasting effects of slavery and systemic racism. The curriculum was updated to be more inclusive and accurate, and teachers were given new training on handling sensitive topics. At graduation, Mariah's name was called, and as she walked across the stage to receive her diploma, the room erupted in applause. It wasn't just for her academic success, it was for her courage. She had stood up for the truth, and she had changed her school. As she turned to face the crowd, she caught the eyes of her classmates, who stood in unison. They weren't just clapping for her. They were clapping for the future they could now see more clearly. A future where history was taught honestly, where voices like hers could no longer be silenced. Morale, the truth may be uncomfortable, but silence in the face of injustice only allows the lies to thrive. One person, standing firm and speaking with conviction, can ignite a movement. Even when it seems like your voice is small, it can resonate far beyond what you imagine. Never be afraid to stand up for what is right.